This is Jamie Campbell, broadcaster for the Toronto Blue Jays. This podcast is produced by the Fireside Chat Club of Canada.
So, I remember Mom and Dad taking me out to a celebration at the school that Dad worked at. The celebration was for Canada's centennial. Check out the links at my site, warpole.ca, WHORPOLE.ca, and you'll see an example of what I saw on that July 1st, 1967.
Hello, and welcome to Canada as I See It.
Canada, as I see it, is, at its core, facts seen through my eyes. Often, it's significant events that I'm relating, which may or may not have lived through. But this week, I'm taking you back to some of my earliest memories, stuff that I did experience directly. They say that a lot of us can actually recall things going back to when you're about 3. And for me, that takes us to 1967. A lot of things happened that year, in no particular order. Canada, the country, turned 100. My sister Janice was born. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. And Expo 67 took place in Montreal. That event was from April 28th to October 29th of 1967, and it was the largest World's Fair ever at the time. 2.5 times the population of Canada attended that fair. 50 million people. Now, here's a quiz. What Canadian invention debuted at Expo 67? Well, here's a clue. You've likely experienced it. It was known then as Multi-Screen Corporation Limited. Yeah, that doesn't really roll off the tongue too well. You know it today as IMAX. Now, looking at some of the pictures and video of that event, which you'll find on the site, you'll see one of those geodesic domes that they had there. Yeah, that's not where the IMAX was showcased, but the first permanent IMAX screen in the world actually took its inspiration from that dome, and the Cinesphere was born. It was built in Toronto's Ontario Place Park in 1971, and it actually remains there. It's currently closed for renovations, but I really hope to see it open again soon. Many other movies and music just fill my mind from that place. One in particular, okay, tangent here. 1971, when it opened, we all went down to see this grand thing. And the first movie I saw there was called North of Superior. And if any of you have experienced, what's it called? There's a ride in Disney called Soarin'. And actually, there's a similar one in Niagara Falls, where you are in a set of seats that are lifted up and pushed forward into a sort of a sideways dome, and you're literally in the middle of this flying over grand expanses and Oh my goodness. It just literally took our breath away. That was the first movie I saw at the Cinesphere in 1971. And lucky enough, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago now, something like that, I saw it again for the first time in a while. And I'll tell you, 40 plus 50 years later, it's still breathtaking. So, as I even prefaced the tangent there. It was cool, huh? But anyway, IMAX. What does IMAX stand for? No? Volunteers? No, absolutely nothing. It's not an acronym. It was a made-up word. Kind of like Kodak. Easy to spell and catchy. Let's see. The music. Oh, by the way, yeah, we're back in 1967. Sorry, it was a little shifting without a clutch there. Music in 1967. One song in particular, and it really just sort of enveloped the where Canada was at the time and the sounds. The one song in particular that I can recall is called Canada, or I suppose if you use the hyphens, because I think there were hyphens in it, Canada, or at least that's how it's sung in the song. Anyway, no, I'm not speaking of O Canada, and that's Canada with an O, just the letter O, not O-H. Okay, so it's not the national anthem. No. This song was written by Bobby Jimby. He was Canada's Pied Piper. And the song actually is also known as the Centennial Song. It was recorded in English and French, and it's sung like a round, like row, row, row your boat. Just, verses overlapping each other. Bobby assembled children's choruses in Toronto and Montreal for the recording. And when he performed the song in public, he would often invite kids up on stage to perform it with him. It's quite the infectious piece of music. I have the record for it, or vinyl for the younger set, 45 RPM, and I remember playing it so often. How often? The stylus, that's what we play records with, it wore through to the other side. Sounds like a Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, wore through to the other side. Yeah. No, not really. One thing about the lyrics of the song that I remember, they noted Canada's population. Now we are 20 million. Yeah, that's all you're going to get out of me for singing today. You're just going to have to check out the link to hear it. That was a big deal for us. Canada was 20 million people. Today, Canada's population stands at 41.5 million. 59 years, and it's doubled. Wow. As far as the population goes, I'm going to leave a live marker of it on my site, warpole.ca, and I'm also going to leave a link for the lyrics to the song and a recording. I'll put the song down. And I'll just warn you right now, you just try and get that earworm out of your head. I heard it just a short time ago, actually, for the first time in years. I mean, it's always running in my head. But I actually heard what the 45 related to me all those years ago. And honestly, it brought tears to my eyes and really a lump to my throat. Oh, there's going to be an extra special bonus link. Look for the Sugar Shop, that was a group, a Sugar Shop adult cover of it. They were actually marked to be the Canadian Mamas and the Papas, very much similar type of sound. I mean, it was 1967, the summer. It was the summer of love, and it has that feel to it. Now, that group didn't pan out, but, I mean, for no as big reason. I mean, anything Canadian, there's always the thought that anything Canadian out there has to work 10 times harder than anyone else to make it known out there. But there was one member of that group who went on to play Jesus in the Toronto stage production of Godspell in 1972, and the subsequent movie of the same title in 1973. I have it available on DVD. If some of you want to, some of my friends want to give me a shout, come on over and we'll have a viewing party. Just a note, I generally watch that around Easter, Good Friday and Easter, because that's sort of how it's set out. So anyway, so this guy, he was the builder of the Titanic in the 1997 movie of the same name. Another clue here, he was a double agent in the TV show Alias. Okay, you might all have it now, but finally, he is now a lawyer in the Canadian-produced Family Law television series, currently in its 4th season. Yeah, it's Victor Garber. Little less hair on the top, but check out the afroed 18-year-old version of him at the link that you'll find on my site. So, turning 100, I mean, do I really have to say it? It's a big deal. My Aunt Bessie, who turned 100 a couple of months prior to her passing back at the end of 2024, oh my goodness, I have such fond memories of visiting her and Uncle Wes back in the 60s and 70s. I'm really... I can't confirm it because my memories at that time, although they were sort of nebulous, and even through time, they all sort of meld together. But I could probably place a bet that they took me over to Aunt Bessie's place down in Burlington to watch me when my sister was born. And my next sister, Judy, she was born in 1968. But, I'm sure I probably spent a lot of time at her place. Now, as far as turning 100, well, I plan on being around for Canada's 200th, the bicentennial. I'll be 103 at the time, but... I've always told people that I'm going to be around for First Contact Day. That's, I believe, April 5th, 2063, if I'm not mistaken, and from Star Trek. Who knows, right? So anyway, what I'm saying here, all of that to tell you this, look for episode number 1741 of Canada as I See It, that's going to be available on whatever platform wins the Robot Wars, I suppose. But so anyway, sorry, 1967. I know. I keep drifting. On May 2nd of that year, just after Expo 67. After it opened in Montreal, Toronto actually had to remind Montreal that they were still there. You see, Montreal was almost always the largest city in Canada at the time. On May 2nd, Toronto's population was 2,252,000, and Montreal's was 2,500,000. thousand. So, yeah, they always had the edge. It was actually 9 years later that Toronto finally surpassed Montreal population-wise. So anyway, sorry, May 2nd. I just throw that out there and then go off on a story for a bit. What happened on May 2nd, 1967? Well, in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, with the oldest average-aged team ever, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Montreal Canadiens in Game 6 of the final and took the Stanley Cup. Now, I don't remember the win. It was actually just over 2 weeks before my first sister, Janice, was born. And but I do like to pull that fact out occasionally. I was there when. Actually, I'm going to my first Leaf game in Toronto in over 30 years, coming up in March. I'm excited for that. The Leafs will be meeting the Philadelphia Flyers at Scotiabank Arena. And speaking of early memories, it's not 1967, but Dad took me to my first Leaf game back in 1972 when I was 8, and the Leafs were playing the Philadelphia Flyers. So I guess that's a sort of a circular thing going on there. Now, to be clear, especially if you're out there, and there are some people who I did go with, I did see the Leafs play the Buffalo Sabres several years ago in Buffalo. Actually, the trip, food, gas, tickets, and overnight stay were actually less than just getting tickets to see them downtown. Welcome to Toronto. Yes. Now, another thing from back then, I mentioned my sister. I do remember holding my sister in my lap in a rocking chair by the telephone shelf. She was maybe 2 years. No, she was maybe 2 months old. And I was about 3.5 at the time. Yeah, you heard me say telephone shelf. What was that? That was a thing. Everyone had a phone, maybe near the front door on a table. Dad had actually rigged it so that it sat on a shelf just outside of our living room. Those old time black phones that you see in older movies, not like the one I'm actually looking at now that looks kind of computerized, futuristic type of thing. No, he had it on that shelf just outside of the living room. And of course, if you were fancy, you also had a wall phone in the kitchen with a really long cord. Really, yeah. I do actually remember the photo. If I'd planned this well, I'd have it to show you. But no, unfortunately, I'll take it out and let you know at some point. So, to be clear, I do remember Canada's centennial. Which means that it was probably sometime in the 6 weeks after my sister's birthday, the actual birthday, that my memory came alive. And that happened in 1967. Let's see. What was on the air? Well, it's my chosen profession, so I really have to touch on this a little. There are some shows that I actually remember seeing from 1967. It's not a long list. We only really had 3, maybe 5 channels in black and white. And okay, give me a break. I was only 3. But I do have visions of the Andy Griffith Show, Mr. Dress Up. I think every kid in at least Southern Ontario has memories of that. And my dad's favorite show, Bonanza, which always seemed to come out of my mouth as bananas. But hey, again, I was 3. The last show of the year that I do remember seeing, and what became an annual tradition, was the Santa Claus Parade in color. Yeah, the world wasn't just all black and white back then. No, my parents took me down the street to the only family on the block who had that luxurious device, the color TV. Well, they were just gaining popularity. There were only like 50,000 in the country at the time, but we were lucky enough to know someone who had one. It was actually a much more ornate affair than it is these days, ironically. The show was called Eaton's Presents. Now, Eaton's was a department store in Canada at the time, and for over 100 years they produced the Santa Claus Parade. But this show was called Eaton's Presents, How Do You Get to Christmas Land? Again, I've probably delayed recording this show because followed a link and went down a rabbit hole and found that show. It's going to be on my site at the usual place over on the left side, warpole.ca. WHORPOLE.ca. Let's see. Radio. Well, in the kitchen, we had our radio, and it was always tuned to CFRB 1010. Back then, it wasn't just a talk station, as it is now. There was much more music, and I did grow up to actually meet a couple of the announcers that I listened to back then. Back when I started in the business 20 years later. That's Canada's 100th birthday, 1967, and 100 episodes of How I See This Wonderful Country. Thank you so much for joining me on this memory trip, and thanks to my friend Jamie Campbell for the introduction to the podcast. If you'd like to be a part of this space and introduce the show like he did today, please send me a recording of you saying, "This podcast is produced by the Fireside Chat Club of Canada." And you can send that to me at asiseeit@warpole.ca. And that's also the address to send me stories that you'd like me to add to a future broadcast. Again, I'm still looking for stories of your home province, but if there's just a story that you'd like me to tell that's Canadian and yours, and just, something you want to let me know about and let the world know about, please send it along as well. I'd love to include it. Again, also, let me know where you're listening from. We're still heard all over the world, and that just blows my mind. Please drop me an email from that address, or to that address rather, as I see it, at warpole.ca, and let me know where you're listening from, and I'll give you a shout out. Again, another way to get a shout out, buy me a coffee, please. Go to my site, and this one's on the right side of the screen. Warpole.ca, click on the yellow rectangle in the upper right corner, follow the instructions, and you can send me some actual money. This will help me produce the show, maintain the equipment, all sorts of the little things that, need to be dealt with sometimes. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Canada, as I See It, is a production of the Fireside Chat Club of Canada. The music you heard off the top and that you're listening to right now is our theme music, Night Owls by Braden Deal. Thank you all so very much for listening. Have yourselves a wonderful week.